Cade Cole, welcome back to the show, brother.
Good to be back, man.
I'm happy to have you back. It was nice bumping into you a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was good to see you, dude. Congrats on the 10-day fast, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, been like over 24 hours, so just leaning back into it, bone broth, cooked vegetables. It's honestly harder than actually doing the fast because you can't just go for it without
Right.
messing your stomach up.
Right. Yeah,
Did
the
you have to deal with
refeeding
that?
sucks. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I got off of a loan, I was down. So to put it in perspective, I walk at like 165
hmm
and I was 128 when I came out. And so
Dude, 128?
I was yeah, so you've met me. I'm like 5'8", like 165, but lean because I'm always, exercising and out in the mountains and everything. Yeah, when I came out, I was 128 pounds. Remind me and I'll send you a picture.
Oh my gosh, that's gross, dude.
Oh, I was gross looking. I looked like a Holocaust victim.
No doubt. How long were you on? I forgot. It's been a while.
Like 23 days or something like that.
That is a crap load of weight in 3 weeks, dude.
Yeah, well, I hiked. It's weird they never mention it on the show, but actually, I like broke the land coverage record like 3 times over.
Really?
Yeah, I explored my entire territory. I was like, I like, you know what the Nerge is?
Mm-mm.
Like the Mongols. So the Mongols, they had the Nerge, and what would happen is they would ride in these huge circles, and it would push the animals into the circle, and so it kind of create like a frenzy, and they'd get all the animals worked up into the middle, and they'd kill them all, and they have a big feast. And so, anyways, it's like I had that idea in my head that I was like, well, I'll just make a big loop, and then maybe I'll push something in closer if there's anything. But I just didn't have anything that was, like within the rule set that I could kill. So
How many acres is each piece that the contestants have? Do you know?
yeah, it's like 2 miles by 5 miles or something. It's not a lot.
Huh. Did you feel like your area was good or did you think it was trash?
Uh, I think in the summertime it probably would have been awesome. I think the fishing might have been good and all that. I don't know. It's just tough to say. I feel like it's hard to say because when you're in an area that small, like 2 miles by 5 miles like that, I mean, a moose could wander in any day and it'd be a great spot. But if they're not there, it's not a great spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, if there's nothing to fucking kill, then probably not a great spot until something comes over to kill.
Right.
hmm Dude, I gotta bring this up before I forget. So this was, I don't know, a few months ago, maybe towards the end of season, and I don't know what you were doing. I think you were on a pack out maybe or a hike, and allegedly you ran out of water. So you took your fucking water bottle, dude, and you just dunked it right into a wallow and just gunned it. I probably watched that video, dude, 5 times over. I showed my wife because my wife is a huge water snob. I'm telling you, like we drink the cleanest water of all time. She's worried about parasites and all this other stuff. I showed her that. She's like, no, he didn't. I'm like, that's Cade. Yep.
I had like, dude, I probably had like 50 people message me online that were like, "You're gonna die," and yeah, I don't know. I never got sick though.
Really?
No, man. You know what? I haven't filtered water in like over 10 years, and I grew up in the South, like pretty close to Mexico, and so you're just used to dirty water. But your body does have the ability to build an immunity against a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously there's parasites and stuff that'll make you sick, but yeah, I don't know. It tasted like pure elk piss, to be 100%
That's what you
honest.
said. I remember. Yeah, you're like, it tastes just like piss.
It literally it like smell that smell. It's what it tasted like. But there's no other water. I went to 3 different ravines, hiked way down like 800 feet in elevation to every one of them. And I there was no water. It was all frozen solid in every bottom. So I was like, man, cannot trust the straight blue line on Onyx.
No, you can't. Was that a hunt or was that a hike? I can't remember.
It was a hunt. Yeah, it was a hunt.
Were you on a pack out or were you just getting out of there?
No, I was we were actually just kind of desperately trying to find bulls, but I ended up that was actually the same day I almost shot myself.
Okay, we
Did
got
you
to
see
get
that?
into that. Nope, I
Yeah,
didn't see
yeah,
that.
yeah. Yeah, so did you see that video?
Uh-uh.
Okay, so
Is this a YouTube or on Instagram?
it was on Instagram, just like a short video.
Okay.
So I I'm trying to find water. This is actually before the wallow deal. I'm trying to find water, and it's like pure ice on this real steep slide. And you know, you get to the when it gets real steep like that, sometimes you're better off to just jump and land on the flat spot than you are to bust your ass.
Hmm.
And so I jumped, but when I did, I didn't realize there's a grizzly bear on the other side of this tree. And so I jumped, and when I landed, it scared that bear, and the bear jumped up and
He
scared
was he
me.
was bedded.
Yeah, he was bedded on the other side of the tree. And so he jumped up, made this horrible noise, and it scared me real bad. So I pulled my pistol out and I drew down, and we kind of had like a Mexican standoff for like, I don't know, it's probably like a second, maybe two, you know. And he ended up turning around and hightailing it, ran up the mountain. And so, of course, like, and all my adrenaline fueled everything, I was like, whoa, that was close. And I just put my gun back in the holster and I go about my day. And then probably 3 or 4 hours later, after the elk wallow and all that deal, I go to take my pack off, and I go to loosen the straps. And when I go to loosen them, I realized that my one of the straps had gotten down in the holster. And so when I loosened it, the gun went off, and it shot a rock like, I mean, like maybe like 6 inches from my foot. Luckily, I carry at that like 15-degree camp. But I was like, man, I'm having a shit day.
No doubt. It's time to go home, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
What firearm are you carrying?
I actually, you're gonna laugh. There's gonna be a bunch of people on here that are gonna be upset, but man, I carry a Canic TP9 SF
Yeah.
for I carry it all the time. It's my concealed carry during the day, and then when I'm in the mountains, I just use it too. Like honestly, I just really like that pistol.
Is it a 9?
Yeah, it's a 9.
Yeah,
But
I carry a 9 too, and I sometimes feel like I'm not even carrying a gun. I don't know. I don't like the fact that I do that.
yeah, I don't, man, it doesn't bother me. I carry it's weird because I feel like that's like the firearms world in its entirety though, is everybody's got a ton of opinion that's not really based on fact. It's just like everybody's got like the invincible grizzly bear lore. And the way I look at it is like I just sold a Glock 10 millimeter the other day. And like I just can't shoot it well. I've had tons of 10 mils and they're fine, and within that inside that 20 yards or whatever, I'm good enough with it. I would feel comfortable. But with my 9 millimeter, man, I know I could put 21 rounds in a bear very easily. So
Mhm.
it's like to me, being able to hit and get follow-up shots on target quicker is way more valuable than having a little more energy. I mean, I don't really see the value, honestly.
No, I mean if you can't hit the broadside of a barn, you might as well just leave the thing at home.
Exactly.
Hmm. No, I get that. I understand that. And good on you, man. Like a lot of people, I mean, you know how it is. You got all these companies with these fancy chest rigs and you got it tucked behind your bino harness and you got people rigging stuff up to their packs or however people are carrying their guns. They don't even practice the draw anyways. So
Right.
by the time you jump over the thing and there's a bear there, guys are fiddle effing around with their gear and they can't even get their darn gun anyways, let alone
Get
shoot it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think that's like a massive issue with handguns in general, especially with all the chest holsters and all this stuff. Where man, we're putting handguns, not to mention flagging ourselves all the time,
Just
but like
all the time.
we're putting handguns in the craziest places, and then people aren't even training with them. I mean, that's the
Hmm.
thing. That's everything to do with firearms these days. People are just like, I'm gonna buy this thing that's really cool, and then I'm gonna be like, because I have this cool thing, I'm good to go. You know.
Yeah. No, and they don't even know how to break the dang thing down to clean it or really do anything.
Yep.
But it
Yep.
looks cool for pictures, dude. Like you look
100%.
you look like a badass.
Doing it for the gram.
I love that video you tagged me in the other day. Did you hit that deer? Was somebody hit that
No,
deer?
man, I have a whole group of mule deer that live in the yard. And they literally live in my yard. And so there's like 40 or 50 of them. And man, I had two hit that week. It's just people that drive way too fast and they hit them right in the driveway. And then if I don't get them, the dogs are out there in the road trying to eat them. And it's just a mess.
And what was done with that after it went to the
That
bed of your
one,
truck?
that one was pretty bloated and far gone. But every once in a while, honestly, what I do with most of them is feed them to the chickens.
Really?
Yeah, I just break them down and then go put them in. I got like 50 chickens. And so we just lay them down, and 50 chickens can eat a deer pretty quick.
Yeah, I would imagine. How like do you have to like cut it up real good, or you just throw chunks of meat in
Oh
there?
no, I just skin it off and then throw it down, and then as long as the skin
Like
isn't
the
there, they'll.
carcass?
Yep, yep. So take all the skin off and then get rid of the skin, but then just leave everything else down there, and man, they'll eat it down to nothing. Eat it down to
That's a
bone.
feast, dude.
Oh yeah,
Good
oh
on
yeah,
you. Good on you. You're still guiding, right?
yeah, yeah, a little bit.
Is that your full-time thing, or what are you doing for work?
Yeah, man, it's weird. I'm kind of like I'm like in between. I don't know. I'm having some changes here. I'm doing a little more like firearms instruction stuff, and then me and Cliff Gray have been doing some hunting seminars and kind of like really getting doing more of those and a little less guiding. It's honestly it's a little more fun to take these people that don't have any experience at all, they have no bad habits built up yet, and they have no like expectations. Take them out, show them what to do in like a good fashion, and then just let the text messages roll in around fall and seeing the guys with all their success and everything. It's really great. And then on top of that, I'm doing a little bit of guiding. Last year I did quite a bit, but this year I'm trying to slow it down some. I'm just tired of being gone.
It's hard on your body too, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm getting
you got two or three kids, don't you?
yeah, I got two little boys and a little girl on the way now. Just
Con-
found out.
Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
I like how you said when you're with the firearm stuff, you like training newbies because they don't have any bad habits built up yet. That is crucial.
Yeah.
If you get
Yeah.
somebody that's been doing the same thing wrong for years, it is so difficult to break that habit.
Oh yeah, 100%. You were a cop, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Cops are the worst.
I know. I
It's
know.
it's it's
They don't
weird.
train, first of all, Cole. They really don't.
No. I mean,
They'll have to do an in-service training, like a 2, 3 day kind of bullshit thing, maybe twice a year to like requalify. Dude, it's those qualifications are a joke, man.
yeah, it's like the floor, like the very bottom acceptable standard is totally
Mhm.
like the norm through law enforcement. It's kind of crazy.
And there's so many good people out there and companies that host these courses that are just great. Like former mill guys and former people that have actually done stuff with actual good tactics, but it's unfortunate because the department won't just pay for their people to go.
Right.
And they
Right.
should. Like that's real training, dude. Somebody on your department that's teaching you fundamentals, like that's not, like
Right.
what are we doing?
Yeah, it's interesting because like when I was a kid, my dad was a highway patrolman, and he, just wasn't really above and beyond as far as the training goes. But man, I was a maniac with a pistol. So they got all that training ammunition, and I was just a funnel. I was just like shooting all the time. And so it kind of like really, I would say, like spawned my interest in that, but also taught me a lot of valuable lessons because I saw, even as a young kid, like 10, 11 years old, going out and shooting with some of those guys. And I'm like, man, some of these guys are not very good.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get, and especially you get into the hunting realm, and it's a touchy subject that I don't even really like to talk about, but it's a touchy subject that for me, I mean, the majority of my adult life, basically my entire adult life, I've been walking around in the woods with a gun. And then I get these guys and they're like, oh, I'm SWAT or I'm like a Green Beret or I'm a Army Ranger or whatever. And these guys are all like, got this great resume and then instantly flag me with a loaded rifle. And I'm like, whoa, because it's just like, it's a different realm, and it's like, it's more relaxed and it's less structured. And it's crazy how you get a lot of like armed professionals in the woods on the hunting side. And it's like you just forget because there's all the other stuff added that they're not used to. And it
Yeah.
really hammers on how important it is to have that like really solid fundamental base of just safety, not even proficiency, just safety.
Yeah. Do you think that's lack of training, or do you think it's just they're overstimulated with everything going on because it's a new environment?
It's 100% overstimulation,
Yeah.
because it's just not your like, and it's like an overstimulation thing coupled with confidence, like overconfidence. Well, I'm really confident and capable with a weapon, so like I'm not really necessarily worried about it. But because I'm thrust into this new environment, and there's all this other stuff going on, and I'm all by myself, and I got horses involved, and just adrenaline and all that. I mean, people make mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. What was your upbringing like, dude? Were you close with your old man? You brought him up, I think, last time too, maybe
No, man,
once.
I hate that
Right? Really?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get along.
Yeah.
We had
Why so?
Man, my dad was just I don't want to trash him on the internet, but my dad was just not good to my mom. Not good to my mom. And then I think there's I could make excuses for it, but there's no excuse, right? Bottom
Yeah,
line, no
100%.
excuse.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I like this term where so I could have responded, well, he probably tried his best, Cole, but at the end of the day, I don't know if he did or not. I don't care. Sometimes your best just isn't freaking good enough, dude.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's really that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, because I was thinking about like this podcast for the past couple of days. I was like, man, what are we going to talk about? Like, because I know you shoot from the hip, and I'm like, I'm kind of a little bit radical sometimes on some stuff. But no, I was actually thinking about that particular topic. I was thinking about you and your 10-day fast and like the amount of self-discipline that takes. And I don't think that enough people realize how like all-encompassing self-discipline is in your whole life, right?
Mm,
And we totally live in a society where like there's validation around every corner, right? Like you can open up Instagram and you can find some sort of like validating quote about whatever you're going through and some excuse about how you're right and everyone else is wrong. And, and these like little niche, like nuanced, little quotes and things. And everybody's full of them, right? And it's totally poisoned us as a society for reasons like that. Like, well, maybe you're not a good husband. Why are you not a good husband? Well, I could come up with a bunch of excuses, or I could just say like, hey, you know what? Bottom line, I'm gonna be a better husband.
yeah.
And you can apply that to everything in your life.
I'm black and white, dude. Like you're either pregnant or you're not pregnant. You know?
Right,
There's no
right.
in between, dude. Not kinda, not maybe, not sorta. It's yes or no.
Yep,
It's yay or
100%.
nay. I mean, I don't really know. Like people just sugarcoat stuff all the time. That's why it's fun to just pop online and not give two fiddlers F's about anything and just be me.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's weird because you encounter that, right? When you start making content, like the internet is interesting because you get all the small people, they're like, well, my voice is important now. So I can come out and I can be a total douchebag to this guy that maybe he's offering a really quality perspective or a high quality product or whatever, but I can totally be a douche about it and get away with it because there's nobody to stop me on the internet, right?
Nobody, dude. Until you bump into that person on the street and then tails get tucked and heads go down.
Yeah, and like that's something I think about a lot uh because I got little boys, right? So I'm raising little boys. This is where I'm going to go on my tangent here.
Good.
But
How old are your boys really quickly before you do?
I got one that's 5 and I got one that's about to turn 2.
You got your
So,
hands full.
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I mean they're a mess and they're a ton of work and they're crazy. But they're boys, right? And so I want to mold them into being productive, good members of society. So the first thing that I want to instill in them, right, is self-discipline. So I want them to know that they're accountable for their actions and that they're not going to be able to just like get away with whatever because they feel a certain way. And I feel like in a lot of ways we have this weird cultural movement in Western society where like a lack of self-discipline or like weakness or whatever, like the small people on the internet are a perfect example. This is like we've shifted this into the paradigm shift of like where that is a form of superiority, right? Like, well, I'm a victim, and because I'm a victim, then like I hold power over you. Isn't that a weird concept?
You see it with vets a lot.
Yeah,
You see it with veterans a lot. I have PTSD. I went through this, that. Like, dude, there are so many people that have gone through what you've gone through. Get over it.
right.
You're not that anymore, dude. You're not a Marine anymore. Move
Yeah.
on. That's something that
It
you used to do, not who you are.
Yeah, and you can use that for good. And you see people that use it for good, but you see people that use it for bad. And that's
Mhm.
part of that like constant validation, right? Or like, well, I can make an excuse. You can either make an excuse or you can make motivation.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good topic. I didn't even necessarily think about it in that perspective as much as I did uh like everybody's just well, you shouldn't be judgmental. You should teach your kids to be kind. You should, and it's great. I can teach my kids to be kind, but I can also teach them that like empathy is not a weapon, right? And I think that's
Elaborate on that.
well, I think that we live in this world where I'll give you a perfect example. I was at the grocery store the other day, and Cliff, my oldest boy, he said he wanted a donut. So I was like, well, let's go get a donut. So we go over, and I'm looking through the ingredients. They're like 9 million long
Things you
ingredient
can't
list.
even pronounce, dude.
So crazy. It's garbage. It's poison. But I'm trying to find something that doesn't have dye in it and an auto extract and all these different preservatives and things. And so I'm sitting there and I noticed that there's kind
I
of like
gotta stop. Coming from the guy who drinks freaking elk piss.
I will drink elk piss before I take red dye 40.
Oh, sorry, I had to, dude.
Hey, I mean, what? No, use that. I mean, I think that's important. It's important, isn't it? Like that should be a wake-up call. Because I look around as someone who will willingly drink elk piss. I turn around as I feel the pressure behind me in the grocery store, right? I feel the pressure, and I turn around, and there's a line of people that are behind me. I can tell they're kind of flustered because I'm reading every label, and I'm taking them all. And my little boy's like, "Oh, come on, Daddy," and I'm like, "Hold on, we gotta read through these ingredients." And then I start to get this like pressure of this little bit of anxiety inside me, like, well, man, I'm holding up. I'm kind of creating a line here. Maybe it's a little bit embarrassing. And then I turn around and I look. And I'm like, why should I be embarrassed? You should be embarrassed. Look at yourselves. All these people, you're all fat. Your kids are fat. And you expect me, A, to get out of your way, but B, like I'm supposed to be empathetic. Like I'm not allowed to judge you for the way that you look. I'm not allowed to judge your lifestyle. And I'm supposed to raise my boys in a way that they're not gonna exactly judge your lifestyle. And so it's a weird thing because this is the United States of America, and you have every right to be a fat, purple-headed weirdo. But that does not give you power over me, and it certainly doesn't make me this like abnormal human. And I feel like we've forgotten that as a society, right? Where it's like, well, I'm just going to get out of the way and eat my garbage food, and I'm going to give my kids poison, and you're going to respect me for the way that I look because like you judging my terrible lifestyle makes you a bigot. It's a weird thing.
Bro, if somebody calls you fat, it's probably because you're fat. Like it is what it is, dog.
Yeah.
You know, I dealt with the same thing kind of the other day in a way where I was in the bookstore, and you know there's kind of aisles in the bookstore, so you can't really see over the shelves and stuff, and minding my business, and I just hear, I'm on day 9 of this fast, right? And I just hear, "Oh my gosh, I'm just freaking starving." I'm like, I gotta see who said this. So I go around the corner and I peek, and it's this fat lady and her friend. And I'm like, checks out. You haven't ate in 90 minutes and you're starving. And there's a Chick-fil-A right next to this bookstore, so I already know what they did.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy because the average person has not gone without food. I mean, in our modern society, there's children that have, you know, there's plenty of children that have, but the average adult, they're consuming so much garbage, and it doesn't just stop with food, right? It goes all the way into their cell phone use and television and all these different things. But it's crazy. It's just like it's this never-ending consumer society where like, oh, I'm starving all the time. I have to eat 24/7, 365. I have to be consuming crap on my phone 24/7, 365. People can't go sit and be quiet. You know, I mean, it's just it's like all encompassing as a culture, and I feel like it's the worst it's ever been.
It's not getting any better, I can tell you that. I mean, just for, dude, next time you go out to eat with your old lady and you sit down at a joint, look around. Everybody is on their phones, dude. Everybody. Yep. I can't even stand it when, like, let's say my wife and I sit down to watch a movie on our couch after our kid goes down. If I see her with that phone out, I just pause it and I just look at her. Like, what are we doing? Like
Yeah, it's
we ain't seen each other all day and we're gonna mess off on our phones. And I'm guilty. Like I'm not acting like I'm on my high horse or anything, but it's like be present, man. Nobody's present. Everybody needs that dopamine hit, like you kind of alluded to 10 minutes ago. For what, dude?
yep.
For
Man,
what?
it's the phone thing's tough too. I don't know if you encountered this a lot yourself. Well, like I do. I have like way bigger following on Facebook than Instagram, but I still post. I'm still trying. But like it's like I don't like the perception, and I even have it to myself. I like judge myself a lot on it that I'm on my phone because I'm trying to like create stuff, but then I
Hmm.
want to like get away from it. And then I feel bad because I'm not supporting my friends who are also like creating content and all that. But it's funny because a lot of my friends are also in the same where you're like stuck in the same loop. Like I'm trying to do this to help myself from a business perspective, trying to like I'm trying to build and grow. But man, do I hate this thing that I'm attached to. And so like I want to support you, man, but like I also don't want to be on my phone.
Yeah,
Do you struggle with that?
I do. I try to give myself pockets, man. Like what I'll do is I'll try not to touch my phone unless I'm in the gym, like I'm listening to music or a podcast or on YouTube on the treadmill, whatever. I don't count that just because I'm not scrolling, if that makes
Right.
sense. I'm not doom scrolling. I'm not answering text messages. I'm not working. That's time for me, whether it be, either of those three things that I just mentioned. So I try not to touch it until I get to work. I usually get to work around 10 because once I answer that first message or once I open up IG, the floodgates are open until basically I go home, which is around 5, 6 o'clock. And
Right.
then when I pull into that driveway, I might answer an email. I might answer a few last minute texts. I might scroll one more time or maybe answer a few comments, questions, or whatever that people are leaving on my stuff. I'm walking into that home. My stuff's already on airplane mode. I put that thing face down on the counter or maybe on the charger and do my best to not touch it again until 10 the following day.
Yeah, you
So
have to.
I
Man,
give
you have
myself
to.
pockets.
Yeah, that's I mean that's the best thing you can do. You got to get like 'cause I just think for people's mental health in general, like the phones are probably the number one problem.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And then you also have to, it's a boundary thing too, man, because my phone goes off all the time. People needing this, people asking me that. It's like, hey, during these hours, I'm yours. During these hours, I'm a husband and I'm a dad too. On
Right.
Saturday, I try not to touch that thing at all, dude. At all. Just to be tapped in with my lady and my kid.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I'm a really big fan of like I take hikes. I go on like big backcountry hikes. I mean, every week of the year I at least do one hike a week and I try to do a couple miles at least, with all my gear on. And it's weird because it's like my zen self-care time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't think I could do it without it. I notice if I go a week without it, and that inevitably that day ends up being a day that I can't do it, and so I end up scrolling my phone, and you kind of like feel the phone coming up, and then the next thing you know, it's like 4 hours has gone by that
Yep.
you're just holding that thing. You're like, where has my life gone? And you lose your kids, you lose your wife, you lose all that time that's important time you could be learning. It's wild.
One of the things that helps me the best, and I just started doing this a few years ago, not even knowing that I was doing it, is you know how it is, man. You're in Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
You got to drive to hunt, man. It's not like you're going out in your backyard. Like, it's no thing probably for you to go drive 7 hours to a trailhead, right?
Yep.
Same thing in
Yep.
Montana. If I want to drive out to Kalispell, dude, it's 7 hours no matter which way I want to cut it.
Yep.
In a lot of that way, I don't have service just because I like to take scenic routes and just, scout on my way or maybe look for antelope on the side of the road, whatever it might be. I'm not listening to nothing, dude. No podcast. I'm not taking calls. I'm not answering text. I just literally sit there, no music, in silence and drive. And that has helped me tremendously. That is like my Zen time as well because again, you drive a lot out here in the West. So
Yep.
that's always helped me. I just started doing that. And I noticed it last year. I ripped an 11-hour drive from basically Spokane to Billings in an absolute shitstorm of a storm. And I'm getting off my exit because I made it. And I'm like, I reached to grab my phone to call my wife. I was like, hey, I'll be home in 20. I'm like, I haven't opened my mouth in 12 hours. I haven't listened to anything. I've just been sitting here lost in my thoughts for half the day. I was like, I need to do this more often. It really, really helped me.
Yeah, I can't really like listen to the radio or consume like audiobooks or anything like that because I'm so deaf. And so that's why I have to
That's
have the
that's why
headphones.
that's why you
Y-
couldn't hear me at the beginning.
Yeah. No, I can't. Yeah. I'm like literally, I have a pretty bad hearing disability. I was born with it, and it's way worse now. But obviously for like hunting and shooting and all that. But it's interesting because I can't really enjoy TV. Like television, really hard for me because I have to read the subtitles and I spend more time reading it than I do. And but long drives like that, it's funny because I've got two books that I'm working on. I've got my like field manual, my like hunting guide manual that I should be finished with really quick. But I keep my notes on my phone. Man, when I do long drives, I just write my book. I turn the audio the dictation on, and I just talk to my phone for hours, man, hours.
I love that feature, and I also like voice memos. I love that.
Yep.
That's really handy. Just shoot somebody a quick check in, or um, not text and drive, and it's not perfect, but it's way better than having your phone in your lap when you're driving 90 down 80.
Yeah, 100%.
What obviously I know you weren't close with your old man. How are you? How do I want to frame this? How are you going about raising your young boys right now? Because they're in critical ages. You said 5 and 2, right?
Yeah.
How are you going about raising them compared to how you were raised?
You know, a lot of things that I do. Are you a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I look to the Bible a lot. We go to church every Sunday. You know, Cliff, my oldest boy, he goes to Awana. He goes and has his like separate church activities. And, you know, honestly, we live out in the country. Things are pretty simple and logical. And I try to just keep them simple and logical. We've got like 50 chickens. We got like 12 or 13 horses. I've got dogs and cats, and we got a lot of responsibility. And so Cliff's old enough now that he's got his fair share of responsibility. And he knows where his food comes from, and he helps me break down all our elk and deer and butcher everything, and he helps me cook a lot. And so I think that probably the biggest thing that I use to navigate my parenting is I look at things as whether or not the boys are capable of like performing a task. And I say like, well, that's probably like a little bit too big of a task for a boy that age. And so I just give him that task and then kind of help him along. And I try to keep everything like a little bit I don't like a little bit more challenging. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
want to encourage that maturity and that growth. For me, when I was a boy, I had a lot of responsibility, but my dad was real hard. He was a really, really hard man, and he wasn't real affectionate and loving, and so I'm really thankful for the work ethic that he instilled in me, and I'm thankful for all that experience. And then I moved out when I was 14, so like I had a lot of I have a lot of good that came out of that. So I look at all those things and I try to say like, well, I want the boys to have a hard work ethic. I want them to have a relationship with God. I want them to have a good relationship with their mother, but obviously I want them to have a really good relationship with me. So I want to give them a lot of responsibility, but I also want to give them a lot of praise for their responsibility. And then I want to kind of give them tasks that are a little too hard for them to handle and then be able to be a support for them. But I guess I live by the ideology of like doing dangerous things in a safe way.
Mm.
You know, so he cuts the twine on the hay bales, and you know he goes and feeds the horses and feeds the chickens and fights the rooster. I had to kill a rooster not long ago. But you know, I mean, all those like, well, I'm raising a warrior. I'm not raising a little, you know, shy, meek boy that's gonna look. I want him to be able to look to me and say, you know, hey, like my dad, you know, he's here for me. But I also don't want him to say like, well, I can't do this without whatever. I want him to say like, yeah, I can do anything, and then be a support.
So you're almost right now giving them maybe a little too much to bite off, but you're letting them struggle a little bit and helping them throughout that process.
Right. And I'm trying to, we homeschool,
Good
and
on you. Good on you.
Yeah, so I don't trust the public education system,
I don't
obviously,
either.
But so like that's a big thing is that I was really bad in school. And I wasn't a dumb kid, you know, but I just school is hard for especially for young boys, right? You're active, So I don't push a whole lot of like sit down education as much as I do like, hey man, go build something.
Practical
Like
stuff.
go, yeah, go build a seesaw. You built a seesaw with some rocks and a, piece of wood the other day. I mean, it's like little things like trying to be creative, go play, ask questions, ride the horse. To me, he knows his ABCs and he knows how to count and all those things. He knows his numbers, but I'm not going to like thrust him into multiplication because to me, that's less important than being able to ride a horse by himself,
Hmm.
in the scheme of things.
It's like, dude, dude, think back to some of the stuff that some of the bullcrap classes you used to have to go through in middle school and in high school. Like, think back to chemistry. Like, dude, I'm not trying to be a scientist.
Right.
Like, I don't care about the periodic table. Like, what is that? That does not apply to my life one single bit
Right.
at
So
all.
let's teach that to people that want to learn that.
Correct.
And then let me learn how to, yeah, it's, when at one time point in our history as a society did we start saying like, well, stay in school, kids, or you could be forced to build houses and provide for everybody? It's like crazy. Like
It's just ingrained in us, dude. It,
it's
it's it's ridiculous.
it is ridiculous because what we've done is we've created a society that like demoralizes kids. They're like, well, if you don't learn whatever, you're going to be forced to have this job that in all reality is very noble. You might be forced to be a farmer, or you might be forced to be a carpenter, or you might be forced to be a plumber or an electrician or all these things. And it's like, man, these are the best people we have. As a society, we would not survive without plumbers and carpenters and electricians and farmers and mechanics and all these people that are like uneducated. It's like these people are extremely educated. If
The
they didn't,
trades are great, dude.
yeah,
The trades are great. And it's even with what I did, man. Like, I didn't know what I was going to study in college, and I was like, business. Well, I mean, well, like for what? I don't know if I want to be a businessman. So I switched, and I was like, well, maybe I could be a cop. So I'll study criminal justice, and I studied that for 2 3 years or whatever it was. Got a degree that I don't even know where it's at. I think it's in a box in my basement. And then you go to the police academy, and you think back to all the courses that you took in college, and then you graduate the police academy, and then you actually learn how to be the police. And then you think back to, again, all the classes that you took in college. I used 0% of what I learned in college when it came to actually doing my job. Zero.
right.
And spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in the process, keep in mind, for, I guess, a 3% raise.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only kudo that you get. If you get a bachelor's in CJ, you get a 3% raise at the places that I worked at. What?
Yeah, I mean, and that's pretty good in comparison to how many people get a degree that don't even get a job afterwards. You know,
Or they're doing something completely different than what their degree is.
yeah. I
Like,
mean, it's the
that's me now,
yeah.
you
I mean,
know?
it's the great American lie, right? Go to college and your life will be better. Put a bunch of money into this institution that's going to try to manipulate your thought process.
And then once you go and then you're paying off $250,000 of debt, then you're getting letters and phone calls and emails. Hey, will you donate to the school? Will you do this? It's like, did I not already just do that
Right?
for 4 5 6 years? What are we doing? Instead,
Yeah.
you can go to the trades, earn a great living for yourself, not have any freaking debt, and be one of the people that are the backbone to our country.
And be capable. I mean, be
Mhm.
capable of doing things. That's what I think about. I mean, like, well, if the whole thing collapsed, if it all collapsed, the guy that knows how to build a house, he's going to have a house to live in.
Sure will, and I'll be
And
calling them because I don't know how to do that.
I think it's a weird thing because like we've learned nothing collectively like from the war in Ukraine, right? It's the perfect example. The war in Ukraine is a perfect example that you can have a perfectly modern functioning civilization collapse overnight. And all it takes is, just a disagreement. And we just assume that won't happen here for some reason.
Dude, have you been following this Epstein stuff at all? I don't, I can't. It's too much for me. But I'll see a clip here or an email here. Dude, I don't trust anybody, like at all.
You can't.
With any type of status, I don't trust anything that literally anybody says. Nothing.
Man, it's all by design. It's all by design. It's very frustrating to me. This is something that I definitely dive into my faith on, because at the upper level, there's no doubt that you and I are subjects of a different judicial system than our politicians, right? I mean, it's just obvious. But it's not just us. It's the entirety of Europe and the United States, and we're all living under this concept of like rules for me, but not for you. And it's like it's by design, right? That we're but Republican versus Democrat, and realistically, I would say the majority of the country is probably libertarian. They just are forced to join a party, you know, to fight in the duocracy. But it's a weird thing because you can't trust anybody, Democrat, Republican, whoever, and it kills me because we're seeing it on both sides, right? You got like the liberals are all like Trump and MAGA are evil and everybody's a pedophile, and the pedophile thing bothers me a lot because when we just call everybody a pedophile, it totally devalues how awful that thing is. And it really pisses me off because we've reached this point where it's just a talking point. It doesn't actually mean anything. It's just an insult towards someone that you don't like. And the reality of it is, it's like the most evil, corrupt thing that you can do on the planet. And when you just throw out that, like, well, so and so is a pedophile, all you're doing is devaluing that. And it bugs the shit out of me.
Because nobody's held accountable, Cade. Like
Yeah,
that's why it doesn't hold any value because nobody's ever held accountable.
exactly.
Like
Exactly.
everybody on that's on this list, which apparently is dozens and hundreds of prominent figures that you see on your television or on your computer every day. Why aren't these people being sat down and talked to in the courts?
Right? Because they live in a different world where they can do as they please and you're a subject. If you don't pay a parking ticket, they will take you to jail.
I got one right now that I need to pay actually from
Yep, and
Salt Lake City. Yep.
they'll take you to jail if you don't pay it, but they can go sex traffic children and get away with it and laugh in your face. And then on top of that, we have this like ultimate black cloud of Islam that has just overtaken Europe, right? Like the UK's toast. Islam
Yep.
has
Yep.
totally moved into the UK and taken over, and like I don't know if like this is how they're gonna cancel me. They can't cancel me, but
They
but
can't
no,
if
no,
you that's actually a true statement. I don't think you can get canceled unless you abide by the rules.
yeah, I mean, but
Unless you agree that you're getting canceled, you can't get canceled, dude.
exactly, which goes back to the whole like self-discipline thing, right? Like, oh well, you gonna cancel me in person, you better do some fucking push-ups.
No
But
doubt.
but no, but I mean, like, we have this weird concept as Christians, and it bugs me because I see it at church a lot, and I see it from prominent Christian figures, is we have this idea that Christianity is this like pacifist culture that needs to be pushed in the corner, and you're not allowed to fight for your people and to fight for your convictions and for your values, and to raise your family in a world that's conducive to that lifestyle. I mean, Christianity in itself is a miracle, right? That the idea that love and that kindness and that, treating everyone well is virtuous and moral, and we can all just get along that way, and that was able to take off in the world of slavery and all these terrible things. I mean, it's God's will. But we can't just sit idle and say that, like, well, they have a right to be here. They have a right to defraud our country out of billions of dollars. Like, they have the right to take over the UK. They have the right to take over Europe and this and that. At a point, you have to draw the line and say, we're done with the pedophiles. We're done with this elite level of politicians that's just spending our money in ways that you can't even imagine and just giving it away to our enemies while simultaneously buying votes and replacing us with foreigners that live by a religion that sees us as the enemy, that sees us as subhuman. And so it's a strange thing that if you denounce Islam, you're a bigot, but they can come here and wage war essentially on Christianity, and we're expected to just sit and stop and be empathetic to their struggle.
Back to where the money goes, dude. Like, look at all the money you pay in taxes, and then go to your major cities in Wyoming. Come down to Billings. Come take the walk with me from where I parked my truck to where I walked to get to my office. I'm stepping over tweakers, dude.
Yeah,
Homeless people. Like, why can't my money at least go try to help them? Like,
right.
like something. Like,
Do,
why do I have to dodge potholes on Lake Elmo? Like, why do I have to do that?
right,
Where does this money go?
and it's not even real. We're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. I mean, that's what's crazy about it, right? Is it's like it doesn't make any sense.
And then
It
we
doesn't
can
make any.
literally just print more. So what's the point?
Yep.
Why can't you just print more money?
Yep. And just continue to and you just continue to like devalue your own society. I don't know, man. I think it's crazy. I think that the tax thing is ultimately it's the greatest thing that we can do to fight this thing. Is everybody needs to come together and we need to have a tax strike. If everybody got together, we say we're not paying taxes anymore. Like the problems aren't getting fixed. Our representation does not stand for us. So we're not paying taxes anymore until we fix that. But ultimately, everybody's looking at this as like a federal problem, and it's not a federal problem. The Billings example is perfect for that because uh, whose responsibility is it to take care of Billings? What's the state of Montana? You look at Minnesota. Who is responsible for all the Somalian fraud in Minnesota?
Dude,
The state of Minnesota.
that's its own little country at this point in time. Like,
It's nuts, but it's by design, right? So we take this political party and we have this like democratic institution where the attorney generals are also in on the take, and they're not going to prosecute the politicians that are importing Somalian immigrants and then letting them defraud the government out of billions of dollars to be able to launder it back to them. And while nobody's going to prosecute because we're all in on the take, and the federal government can't do anything because the states hold enough power that it's a state responsibility. And the average American just has no concept of how their government works. They're teaching you dumb shit in high school, but they're not teaching you basic economics. They don't teach you what power the states hold. They don't teach you whose responsibility that is or how your representation works. And then in turn, we have all these people in the United States that they know who their president is, whether they like him or not, but they have no clue who their elected county representation is. They have no clue. And like, how are you going to survive as a country like that?
well, I mean, you're looking at it. I wouldn't say we're thriving.
Yep.
You're seeing what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, it's just broken. So I don't know. It's easy to get down on it and to be frustrated, but at the same time, like, well, I look at it, I say, I'm capable and I'm doing my best to raise moral and virtuous children that will be good leaders. And I stay physically fit to protect them, and I stay sharp in all of my skills. And I know that no matter what, I'm the best that I could be to protect my family, and I'm the best that I could be to fight for my country if that's what it took. And the next step is, maybe it's out of my hands. I don't know. Until we collectively come together and find a solution, I mean, we're just victims, you know?
I want to touch on what you just said, but first, my mind, it works so weird. Look at all the dumb shit that we have to do as citizens of this country. We have to register our vehicles. For what?
Extortion.
For what? I have to pay money to the state to put a tag on my vehicle that makes it legal to drive. Look at how big of a freaking fraud insurance is in every aspect. Think about when you're driving down in Salt Lake, right? You're looking for a place to park. You have to put money in a meter to park on a public street. What? Or you go to a ball game and you're looking for a place to park. $50 to park in this empty parking lot. What? Like none of this stuff, just doesn't make sense. The money that we have to spend for, where does it go? Is it even a thing? Like, it drives me insane, dude. It drives me insane.
And it's just for nothing. That's what
Nothing.
it's for nothing. Yeah.
Back to where back to kind of what you were saying about raising your kids, man. I think that guys like you and I, when our kids get to our age, I think they're just going to be so above and beyond
I hope so.
the average citizen in this country, dude. I look around every day. I talk to people every day. I'm like, this guy doesn't have a clue. And you got three young kids? How are you guys raising these kids to, like, what are you raising them to be? You know? It just
And
it
they're not.
floors me. They're
A lot of
not.
people aren't. They
They're not.
send them. They send them. That's why the country is so fucked up, right? Because they just send them to some purple-headed nose ring having weirdo that's going to teach them about transgenderism and how communism is fucking great, even though they've never worked for hard for a day of their life or gone without food, right? And then they pump out all these little teenage, little communist sympathizers. That's how Mondani got elected in New York. I mean, that's how, look at Colorado, man. Colorado is such an amazing, that Colorado to me is just America's West, right? It's beautiful mountains. It's got red rocks and pretty trees and bull elk, more elk than anywhere else in the country, and mule deer and all these awesome things. And it's packed full of liberals that are just
Dude, go to Denver. Pick
wrecking it.
any restaurant in Denver, and it is a freaking zoo. It is a
It's a disaster.
circus, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a disaster. And you're like, how did it go from just like America's heartland, like the image of the West, to just being this liberal cesspool with homeless people? And then like it's nuts. And it's like, well, public education, a failed public education system did that.
I have a young dude who I coach who's transitioning and he wants to be a cop. And he's like, well, I'm thinking about either coming out your way to this little bullshit town right just north of us. Small, dude. I mean, real small. Or, maybe like Denver. I was like, if you want the experience, dude, go be the police in Denver for 3 years.
Yeah.
That's some real shit right there. That'll teach you how to be the police real quick because you're gonna deal with everything.
Yeah. Or
Everything.
unfortunately, you're going to go to prison.
One of the two. Yeah, there's really no in between these days, man.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was fun when I first was a cop. They were kind of implementing body cam, so I got to run like a year without one, and it was just such a totally different game compared to when how you could talk to people and how you could actually do your job. Not that I was bending rules, but you could just talk to people differently,
Right.
opposed to having a screen on your chest and having that get over analyzed off of every single thing that comes out of your mouth.
Right. And then somebody watches it, you say one thing because your adrenaline's up here and you're trying
Hmm.
not to kill somebody. And then some nerd gets to watch it
Yep.
500 times I mean, that's every cop video, right?
Hmm.
Like my uncle's a homicide detective down in Texas. And like I said, my dad was a highway patrolman. And man, I grew up watching that and I was like, man, I don't want any part of being the police. That's
No,
just,
dude, you want to talk about politics? It's terrible.
oh yeah. And it's
Holy smokes.
worse by the day.
Yeah. Yeah. God bless him. How kind of switching gears here. How long you been married, man?
We've been together since 2007. So we've been together for 9 years. We've been married for 8.
Okay. What secret you got? 8 years isn't nothing to not commend.
What was that?
I said 8 years is not anything to like not hold your hat on, or what's that term?
Yeah,
Fucking
man. Yeah,
forget the term, but
I mean, we're totally at that phase in marriage where, marriage totally goes through different phases. And you hear older people talk about that when you read about marriage and you read about relationships and all those things. Um, there's all those different phases of marriage, and you have like that honeymoon phase, and then you have that where you kind of like you have to, as you get older and you've been together a while, you definitely have to pursue more. You have to like pursue and try to be in love and choose to be in love and choose not to be just a roommate, or like marriage be transactional. And then kids make it, I mean, you know that, I mean, kids make it so much harder because there's this new thing, and inevitably you love this thing in a different way than you love your children it's just not comparable. to anything else, right? And so I do think that for a lot of people that affects marriage. And I know that right now, especially like for my wife with the 2-year-old, man, toddlers are so hard on everybody's nerves, right? Because they're like the greatest and the worst at the same time. And so we're at that we're in that phase right now where it's like we gotta you gotta remember and you gotta say like, hey, like I choose to work harder to be a better husband. Like I choose, to love you because it's not easy. You got kids and you got stress and you got finances. You got all these things. And anybody that says that marriage is just super easy, I think they're full of it,
They
because
are.
you really do have to work hard. And then as a man, as a leader of your household, you have to balance that. You have to put all that shit in the back seat and say like, hey, I'm not gonna let the stress overcome my relationship with my wife. I'm not gonna let anything come in between that. And it's really hard to not let that happen because you just know that that person's there every day.
Yeah. Is your wife
So
is your wife at home or does she work?
no, she's full-time mom and she's, I mean,
That
hardest
is
job on the planet, right?
it 100% is. I'm glad you said that, dude. I'm glad you said that because everybody's like, "Oh man, when you have kids, your life changes." And it's like, "Yeah, it does, but I think it gets better." But I know when, my old lady, she'll go to the gym or whatever, so I'll have our boy for 2, 3 hours. Bro, if he don't get down for a nap at some point within those 2, 3 hours, she'll walk through that door and I'm like, thank you, Lord. I'm so glad you're home. I'm smoked.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
done. And then I'll leave for 8 hours and she'll have him all day.
Right.
I'm like, holy cow, I don't know how you do it. It's a lot,
Yeah.
man.
And I think that's a huge, and I'm very guilty of it, is you go out and you put in a hard day's work. And you're like, well, I worked hard today, but she did too. She worked hard every day with
Hmm.
no days off and
No
still
days
got to
off.
take care of you. And I think that it's just, man, it's easy for you to make those excuses and say and validate yourself of like, well, I worked hard, so I'm tired, so whatever. And as a man, it's your job to step up, and account for that. But I definitely, man, I feel for wives with especially young kids. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel already because Cliff's 5 and he can entertain himself and he can help himself do things. And man, babies and toddlers are they're the most selfish people on the planet,
They
you know,
are. Yeah.
so,
Yeah, they are. They are.
and they've got to put up with that. Yeah. It's tough.
It is tough. So how do you find time to make sure that you're not lacking in the husband department?
Man, I don't know. I feel like I try to look at the things that I really don't want to do and try to do those things. And I think that there's like a weird, I don't even know what you would call it. Like there's a stigma about being a husband. Like, well, so and so's husband is like, he does the dishes and he cooks dinner and he does this and he does that. And it's like half and half. And like, we're good partners because we're half and half. And like, the jobs that you do don't dictate who you are as a partner because you can totally cook dinner and wash the dishes and do all that and still be a piece of shit. And I think that like a lot more people need to be reminded of that. And on my aspect, like I try to physically work hard and provide and do all those things and spend time with the kids and work on the school and all that. But I hate doing the dishes. I freaking hate doing the dishes. But you got to look at them. My wife's pregnant right now. I'm doing the dishes every day because like she's miserable. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you just got to look at that thing and be like, that thing sucks and I don't want to do it. And because I don't want to do it, and obviously she doesn't want to do it, I'm going to step up and take care of that thing. And I don't know. That's my only way to kind of gauge for myself is I just look at things of like how bad do I want to do that thing? And like if I hate doing it, she probably hates doing it too, so I should probably just do it.
Yeah, I like that you said that too, and especially with the job thing. It's just because you do the dishes doesn't make you the guy, you know?
Right.
Like I vacuumed yesterday. Definitely didn't want to do that, but that doesn't make me a good husband, dude. Like it doesn't. It was just a task.
Right. And I don't know, it's back to the society thing. That's kind of a weird deal too of like, oh, well, so and so is a good husband because like he cooks and does this and that, but like would totally get his ass beat if somebody tried to rape me on the sidewalk. And that to me is like its own weird thing that I feel a lot of responsibility for, is just the protection of my family. Like you go out, you go places, you're like, hey, you know what? Like I could kill everybody in the room if I needed to. And like to me, that's my job as a husband and as a father, right? But maybe we're not supposed to talk about things that way. And it's like, well, so and so he's the ideal husband because he's doing the dishes or whatever, but like he can't protect you. And to me, that's failing as a man, and you have to look at yourself objectively in that aspect.
You're a liability, man.
Yeah,
You know, like I used to date this one broad, and I go over to her parents' house. This is in like high school, dude, and they're as left as it gets, and whatever, doesn't matter. But their their source of home protection was a baseball bat, like an old Louisville Slugger. Like what, dude? If I come up and ransack that place, I ain't worried about your bat, dude. Because one, I
no,
know you can't swing it, and two, I probably got something better than that anyways. If I'm coming to ransack your crib,
right,
it's like you're not gonna be able to protect nothing. You got a wife and three daughters. Like, what do we? You ain't doing nothing.
right.
You know,
And that's your responsibility.
great guy,
Yeah.
but like you're not gonna be able to protect your family, dude.
If you got to call somebody else, you got to evaluate yourself. I think that we shouldn't make that a hard topic. That should just be a baseline topic. You have to look at yourself and say, hey, if somebody was to try to hurt my family, would I have to call somebody else for help, or could I handle it on my own? And if I couldn't handle it on my own, I got some shortcomings I need to work on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to lead too, man. Like just because you do all these things, vacuum, dishes, whatever it is, if you're not leading, that's in my opinion, that's your main job, dude. Like that's not your wife's responsibility to lead the family. It's not. Her job's to be a mother and a wife. You have to lead this whole ship. You're the driver.
Right. And isn't that a crazy thing in itself? The idea that like people don't realize what real feminism is. Real feminism is riding in a covered wagon across the country and like helping keep everybody alive and raising kids and helping build a fucking cabin in the woods and homeschooling your children and skinning deer on the back porch and all those things. Like that was feminism. Like men, women, doesn't matter, total equality. And we have this like weird idea where like women are now role playing as like powerful women by like, well, I'm a boss bitch because I go and do this business meeting. And it's like, man, I don't care about that. My wife doesn't have business meetings to go to, but she's raising the next generation of what I hope to be the greatest men the world's ever seen, right? Like my wife is raising two, you know, little boys that have a relationship with God and know how to work hard and respect her. And that is feminism. And I think that there's this weird thing where women in general, they do crave leadership from a man. That doesn't mean that I'm bossing my wife around.
Mm-hmm.
It just means that I'm the head of the household. Am
Mm-hmm.
I gonna am I gonna talk to her about any decisions that we make? Of course I am. Like she's my partner. She's my, she is everything. Like she's involved in all that. But at the end of the day, I do make the say, and I think that that's healthy for our relationship, and it's biblical.
It is biblical. You're 100% right with that. And I think it kind of goes back to the kind of what we've been talking about this whole time, dude. In Western civilization, you see it all the time. I don't need no man. I'm an independent woman. I make my own money. I do this. And it's like, hey, that's all great. But like, you do need men. You do. We need women. I need my wife, dude. I'm not afraid to admit that. I love her to death. She holds us down. She's raising our boy right now. And I don't have a lick of any worry as to what's going on underneath that roof right now. I know that he's safe. I know that he's fed. I know that he's loved. She's doing her job. But when I get home, she needs me too. Right?
Right.
Like I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
I think it's part of its design, man. It's part of the destruction of society. It's a war on the nuclear family, and it worked. I mean, when we've fallen away from God, we've fallen away from traditional family roles. Everybody looks at Japan, and like Japan is so ultra conservative, right? And everybody looks at Japan, and it's so clean and it's so nice, and they don't want any foreigners, and it's like, Well, why does Japan work so well? It's because they honor the family system. It's because above all is your family and your family's honor. And that's all it takes, right? And that's all that the Bible tells us to do. Hey, work hard, be good, love each other, honor your family. That's it.
I just think people can get caught up and just get lost with what is really important in life. I have a buddy that I really admire. He's older than me. He's like 40, and he's got two daughters. He's got a wife, and he does not give two craps about really anything else. If he don't like you, he'll tell you you're a dickhead straight to your face, and he'll keep it moving. And the only thing he cares about is being the best girl dad in the world and being a kick-ass husband. That's it, dude. That's it.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
like
like,
what else is there really at the end of the
yeah,
day?
he's not distracted. Like he's got his
No.
blinders on.
Yeah. And I really admire that about him. And I met him at a really great time too, as we were pregnant, and I was like, that's the kind of dad I want to be. It's like, dude, don't none of this other bullshit matters, dude. It really doesn't. The Epstein files and everything that we've been talking about, and we're just having a conversation. I get it, but like none of this shit matters. We don't have a voice big enough to make any type of impact, dude. Unfortunately, we don't. We
Right.
we don't. So why not just focus on what you can focus on? The important things in life, which is your faith, your relationships, your kids, how you're going to raise them, providing, leading, being a man. There's nothing else.
Yep. And that 100%, that's how you make a difference.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Without even really having to get on the internet and run your mouth. That's it. I think we figured it out, Cade.
Yep. It's all smooth sailing from here. You just gotta keep from being distracted. I mean, that's all it is, right? It's all, the world is one giant distraction from the things that are important. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think that honestly, what we're talking about, I would say 90% of the population wholeheartedly agrees. And they just, whether they know it or whether they practice it or not, I mean, they feel that way. We all do. It's easy to get distracted. And I think that, that's probably the biggest problem in modern society is everybody's just staying distracted. But we're getting fed up too. People have realized that the food is bad, that the consumerism is bad, that the information is bad, that you can't trust anything. Maybe the AI thing and the distrust is the greatest thing that ever happened to humanity because maybe the value of the handshake will come back. Maybe man to man conversations will be back to like the pinnacle of trust. I mean, I try to look at things in that light.
I don't know how else you can look at them, dude. Like, remember, like my grandfather taught me how to shake a hand and to look the person in the eye. Like and he was, I mean, born in the 20s maybe? Like, because that used to mean something, dude. If you gave another man or another human being your word, that has to hold value. And nowadays, it just kind of doesn't, man. Like, where did that go?
I don't know, man, and it just disappeared quick, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did. Yeah, it
I
sure
feel like
did.
even as a kid, around the same age, I feel like even as a kid, like maybe I was just naive, but even as a kid, I felt like there was still that level of like trust between people, and it's just not there now.
Well, there's just too much information too, and there again, the distractions get worse by the day, man. They make these yeah, have you seen those goggles? I think they were really popular like a year ago. Those goggles that you can wear. I don't know if it was an Apple product. I think it was. You can put these goggles on and there's like a whole screen that's not there in real life, and you can like put your hand up and like scroll
Oh yeah, yeah,
Netflix. I forget what they were called, but it's like dumb shit like that. Where when we were kids, dude, like like there was those Nextel brick phones, like the walkie-talkies, and that was it, you know?
yeah.
And now you can just do anything. And if I don't know the answer, I can just ask ChatGPT or ask Siri, like, what the word is. And so
Right.
it just, you think, dude, like, we're going to be around, like, 2050 is going to come around. We'll be here and our kids will be grown. It's like, then what, dude? Like, is people just going to be flying around with jetpacks? And what is this going to look like, man?
Yeah, I don't know, man. So part of the time I think that it won't even be recognizable, and then sometimes I think we'll be sitting around a fire roasting possums or some shit.
No
You know?
doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I don't. It's scary, but I think as long as you and I just keep doing our jobs and raise our boys the right way, and that's really all we can control. And I hope
Yeah,
people that are listening to that feel the same way, man, because you're not, this shit ain't slowing down. I don't see it happening. The technology is just going to be keep getting better. The hierarchy is going to just keep being protected and live by a different set of rules. And you got to focus on what you can focus on, which is your kids and your family and your relationships and God. That's it, dude.
100%. 100%.
That's it. Anything in your life that maybe you're putting off that you think you could be better at?
Man, I really been wanting to I got a lot of stuff I'm putting off. I got some horses I got to train and stuff, but like as far as my own like personal stuff, man, I do a lot of cardio, like a ton of cardio, and I've really been wanting to actually like get back into consistent weight training. I'm just so inconsistent, and it's like here's my excuse. And they got the kids and all that, and you gotta make time
I
for it.
hear it every
And then,
day, Cade.
man, I know, you're gonna have to like come down here and whoop my ass or something. It's just the one thing I'm really good about the cardio. I'm really good on that. And I do a lot of plyometric stuff, but man, I'm not good with weight training and I gotta do better.
I feel like you're farm boy strong though. Like you're not a big dude by any stretch, but I feel like you're farm boy strong. I know a lot of dudes like you that are just naturally strong. You're not a weak dude. Like I know you can throw a freaking hind quarter and some freaking scraps on your back and just go forever.
It's a weird thing. When I was a kid, I always thought my grandpa was cool for that, because he's like that guy worked with horses and cows his whole life, like obviously like me. And man, there's something about rope. I swear there's something about working with rope. The strong, like the most non-physically intimidating people, but like scary strong people I've ever met have all worked with rope. They've all been like divers or cowboys or I don't know. There's something about maybe it's just pulling on animals. I don't know.
Grip strength
But
is equates to like total body strength in a big way.
yeah,
And
I could
that
see that.
and that's where I think that rope comes in handy because if you've been dealing with rope your whole life, you sure probably got a good grip strength, which really translates well to any type of strength training or just natural strength.
Right.
hmm You always hunt with horses?
Nah, man, about 50-50. A bunch of the trips that we do are backpack trips. So I'm always like back and forth on it. And I do a lot of backpack stuff. I do a lot of rucking, and that, like I said, that's my like Zen
hmm
treatment, like go out with a heavy pack and I don't know, something about a heavy backpack. Just like, I love it so much. So I tell you a funny story. So when I was 17, no, 16, I broke my back playing football. I played. You'll laugh, but I actually played weak side
I
linebacker,
was gonna
which
say linebacker, dude, for whatever
yeah,
reason. Yeah.
yeah. I actually played weak side linebacker, and I wasn't really very. I probably wasn't. I know I wasn't physically big enough, but I understood the game well enough, and I was never gonna go past high school. And Texas is so serious, it's just like
Oh, you were playing big boy football then.
yeah, everything was really yeah. Texas is pretty hardcore on that. But man, I hit this kid. We went helmet to helmet, and I broke my back. I broke my L4 and L5 vertebrae when I was 16, and it hurt me for a long time. And when I was probably 20, I would have to get shots, like the corticosteroid shots, to be able to get rid of swelling and stuff, and then I'd do okay. And I had to get shots in my back so I could get around because I'd get down real bad. And then I got bucked off a horse when I was like 20, and it messed me up bad. And anyway, I got the shot and I was kind of doing okay. And then I tried to lift this, like the trailer wouldn't go on a hitch. So I was trying to shake it and I hurt my back again. And that put me down like to the point where I was going to have surgery, but I couldn't really afford it. So I put it off and I got one more shot and they were like, no more shots. You have to get surgery. And so I put it off as long as I could. And I would have to take like a stick, like a walking stick to help me get in the saddle because I couldn't get my foot up hardly to get on the saddle. And I had this bastard of a horse and he bucked me off again when I was fucked up like that. And it like wrecked everything, but in my back fused. And so after that, I've been great. And then I started backpacking real heavy because I couldn't backpack real heavy for very
Really?
long. It was really hard on me guiding hunts and stuff. But now that my back is fused, my L4 and L5 are fused together, man, I throw on a heavy pack and I feel fine. Never hurts me or nothing. It's so weird. It's kind of like I know how far I used to could be able to go and it hurt me really bad. So now it's like freedom that I know, like, oh, I'm not hurt anymore. I can go. But isn't that weird?
That is so weird.
Yeah. So I never had surgery or anything. It just fused after a horse bucked me off.
That's probably like your favorite horse ever.
Yeah.
Well, Cade, that's what I got, man. Unless you got anything else you want to cover, that's what
Man,
I
I'm good.
got,
I
brother.
I got all my Alex Jones shit out. I didn't even get crazy on this. I
No,
held it together pretty good.
you were great. I enjoyed talking to you, and it was really cool. I wish we could have hung out, and I think you were kind of coming as I was going, and we're at what? Well, we'll talk offline, but we need to get together, man.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I'm in Montana more often than not. I need to look you up next time I'm in up in Billings area.
Yep,
I'm actually truck shopping right now, so maybe I'll swing by if I come up that way.
please do. Good deal. Okay, my friend, I'll let you slide. Stay on the line. I'll download your file. We'll small talk, and it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate you again for coming on.
Cool, appreciate it.